Well, just another Sunday. It's tried to rain a little bit on and off today. We're getting a bunch of thunder right now. So I'm assuming we're going to get some more rain here shortly. Tonight's supposed to be the full lunar eclipse. At approximately 10:30 it's supposed to start Eastern time. Hey, Amor. How are you today? Hey, Monroe. Monroe, are you going to watch the lunar eclipse tonight? It's supposed to start at around 10:30, I think they said. Said parts of Asia are supposed to see it too. I don't know if you can be able to see it there tonight or, well, no, it's daytime for you, Amor. So I don't know how that'll work. I guess you wouldn't be able to see it. Oh, you're working nights. Yeah. Well, Monroe, now that you've been home for a few days, what do you think of all that happened on your trip to the Philippines? Was it what you expected? Hey, Darylou. Haven't seen you in a while. I haven't even seen many videos of yours up lately. You used to do quite a few of them there when you was working out. Yeah, that's what I tell people all the time. It's been a long time since I've been there, but the Philippines is a totally different place. But I enjoyed my trips there. I would like to go back again. But I'm one of those that have held out on the vaccine, so presently they won't let me fly over there. But I keep, going with the theory that one of these days they're going to decide that you don't need the vaccine anymore to travel because the more and more they play with it, the more and more they find it's not working. I still haven't got all your videos caught up yet there, Monroe, from your trip. I still want to go watch those. And more, are you still there? You have any more cave trips coming up very soon? Yeah, I agree, Monroe. There's so much of that stuff that when it first started, it was all had too much political push behind it. Everybody was using that for their agenda, for the elections and everything else going on. And now it's just a mess for everybody. What do you mean, more to send you a ticket? You mean to go home? Because what I was asking about was your ventures down to the caves and the tunnels and stuff. When was the last time you went home? Daryl Lou must have left too. She just came in long enough to make her presence known and then left. December of 19. Wow, going on 2.5 years already. I know you have a child, but I don't remember. Is it a little girl? We're getting some thunder on and off here right now, and I can hear rain on the roof. Oh, it's a boy. Okay, not something I've ever had a chance to talk to you about, so I didn't remember. I think Tinkerbell has a little girl. How old is your son? Well, I can understand that, and sometimes it's better not to put everything out in the open. I've even said the same thing, as far as 12. Okay. I've said the same thing about people, that have an LDR. Sometimes it's better that, you don't bring all of it into YouTube or wherever, because then you've always got people coming in and wanting to tell you what you're doing wrong, or it's not going to work, or they're only there for one thing, or whatever it happens to be. I just look at it, it's not really anybody else's business but yours and theirs. So, not my opinion, the less of it you share, the better off you are. You know, tell your friends about it, private chats or whatever, but don't put it on the open chats. I mean, if I'm with a girl, I kind of want to times jump up and down and tell everybody about it, but I still look at it, that what other people don't know, then they can't just harass us about the stuff or try to cause problems. True. Like I said, I mean, there's always those that just want to stir up trouble. Yeah, you were there to spend the time with her. Um, so that's what you need to be doing most. What I had mentioned to you, is doing some of the videos like when you're out traveling around and stuff, and not so much focusing the videos on her, but just showing what where you were going, what you were doing, because a lot of people that have never been to the Philippines and may never get there like to see you know what you saw, what's there. I've been there, more than once, but I still like seeing what others have to show. That's very true, Amor. There's there's another couple that I know very well. I won't mention names, but I've seen in some of their lives, a few select people that come in, and their big comments are that, well, he should wake up, all she's using him for is his money and so on and so forth like that. Well, if he's giving her money, that's his business. If he's not, that's still his business. It doesn't matter to the rest of us, what they do, because that's their business. But there are a few people that, only want to point out all the bad stuff about what others have done or whatever, make it look like, that's going to happen with every couple. The same thing with those that give money in super chats all the time. You know, Giving small amounts here and there, helps the person out maybe, other than the fact that YouTube takes 30% of it. But, don't put all your money into that. You're going to send it to them, send it, through Western Union or PayPal or whatever, where nobody else knows you sent it, and they get all of what you send. Well, that too. I mean, you're always going to run into problems with that, and it don't matter which side it is. Yeah, and a lot of different families, not even just families, friends, neighbors, people, acquaintances, whatever, all have their own opinions on stuff. I don't know how old your fiance is, but there's a lot of people that get upset, with the idea that many of the guys, the foreigners, are with a younger Filipina. or there's others that just plain don't want you going with a different, nationality. They've all got their own ideas about what is right and wrong, and what's right for one person isn't right for the next. I mean, it's kind of like religion, and that's why I always say you don't discuss religion on YouTube, because somebody's going to get upset over what you said or what you think, and then there's going to be an argument. Same thing as a lot of people don't think that an LDR can work. They say, how can you have a relationship with somebody that far away? Well, it's hard. I mean, you have to work at it. You know, and in some cases, which is a sore topic sometimes when it gets brought up, but it still happens. So I'll bring it up now. There's times that some of them that come back in, saying, well, yes, we're in love, and it's just not in love with the person, but in love with the money that they're providing for them. Going that same direction, Monroe, back when we were kids, you know, kids are always, sometimes are scared of the dark or whatever. And like we used to, where I lived at, my grandparents lived a few houses down the road, and we might have to walk down to their place and come back, after dark. And well, we were scared to walk down there in the dark. My dad used to joke about it. He says, "It's all right." He says, "Come morning with daylight and they see what they've got, they'll let you go." Yeah, Monroe, and just tell them if they're going to kidnap you, they're stuck with you. Tell them nobody has any money that wants to give it to get you back. So if they kidnap you, they're stuck with you. Well, and that's true. And you know, going the other direction on that, that many girls, Filipinas are only half the money. Many foreigners try to use money to buy a Filipina, try to impress them. I mean, I've helped people out in the past with different stuff like that, but I know I tell people right straight out, I'm not rich. Yeah, that's true, Amor. And that's what I say. I'm not rich. Sure, I may have more money than a Filipino does, but everything I have here costs more. So basically, when it comes, dollar value here compared to dollar value there. I don't have any more than they do. I mean, if a Filipino makes $1, he goes out and buys something that cost him $1. A foreigner makes $10. Well, that same item here costs $10. So you really don't have any more money. Yeah, and that same thing, I mean, going in a different direction, there's other people that brag the same thing about other things, that they really don't have anything different than the next person. I mean, you could have a bigger house than the next guy, but do you actually own that house, or are you still paying the bank for it forever? I have a neighbor that just recently bought a new place. Hey, Josh. It's She bought some property. She's bought a new double wide. They still haven't got it all finished setting it up and stuff for her. So she's not even moved into it yet. And I think she's already worrying about making the first payment on it. I just kind of got the impression, this is just my opinion though. She's trying to impress her family or whoever and may have got herself in over her head. I mean, I kind of hope not, because I hate to see her lose it. But besides, like I say, I'm not rich. All my money goes to cat food. You see how many mouths I'm feeding there. Okay, Josh. Have you seen IJ? I haven't heard from her in a few days. Yeah, more, I agree on that because, you know, if you have all your stuff tied up into making payments for a big house, a big car, and other stuff like that, what do you really have? You spend all your time working just to pay bills, just to keep up with what you're doing. You can't enjoy yourself that way. Well, the only thing I brag about Monroe is how many cats I've got. But I show you in videos on that, so you know that's true. And I'm willing to give away a bunch of them if somebody wanted them. Yeah, and like you said, more, have money in savings, whether it's in the bank or in a little tin box in your bedroom or wherever you keep it. It's good to have some extra put there that you don't have to use to pay bills and whatnot with, just in case something happens. Like, what if you get sick? You have to go to the hospital or the doctor and get medicine or whatever. None of that's cheap. I mean, even if you have good insurance, a lot of times you have a copay that's still got to take some money out of your pocket to pay that part. I mean, I've done that myself, even where I had to have surgery. I didn't have the money to pay the copay. I had to make payments on it. That makes it hard. Yeah, more. There's some people on YouTube that say they make bat soup, but I've never got any of it yet. I'm still waiting. But when it comes to the stuff on YouTube, it's kind of like there's an old saying, and I don't remember exactly how it goes. Something about only believe half of what you see and nothing of what you hear. Yeah, that's what I say. An LDR takes a lot of work. It's not like, hey, survival. It's not like you have a local relationship where you go to her place or she comes to yours, and you sit and watch TV together or go to dinner or whatever. No, more I just tease you about that every time I see you guys' videos in the caves and stuff. I was joking with Bikini about that the other day in one of her recent videos that had a lot of bats in it. I said, "Oh boy, time for more bat soup." But I would like to be able to take and go to some of the places that you girls have been, the hikes over the mountains and trips in the caves and stuff. Just some of them caves you guys go through. I don't know if I could get through them. You're all a lot smaller than me. I'd be afraid I'd get down in some of them caves and get stuck. sign of aging. You're not that old. Well, survival, those that they go through, where they're crawling around the water and on their belly and stuff like that. I don't have any desire to go in those, but I like the ones there that they went to that was from the war that the Japanese made, just because there's some history behind them. I mean, that's what interests me is just seeing, what they did and stuff, back in the time of the war and stuff. I mean, you see it in the movies and stuff and hear the different stories and things from the war and whatever, but it'd be nice just being able to see some of the stuff that actually was part of that time period. Yeah, I agree with that. And I had mentioned that to JB about that back when she was showing them like that. I says, what happens if you get lost in there? I mean, because they go down through and every once in a while, they show there's a second turn or whatever. What if you go the wrong way? But she said something about they had a map. So, I mean, so they've been laid out where you got a map, as long as you can halfway reasonably follow a map, you've got that, to show the route to go through like they do. But I agree too on the other parts because I mean, there's so many places when they're going through, you see the broken rock and stuff laying along the walls, which means every so often part of it caves in. So any old cave can be dangerous. I would especially be leery of going into caves in the Philippines where they have so much, problem with earthquakes and stuff. And it's the same thing I've mentioned to the girls before about that. You get in there like that. What happens if your batteries for your lights go dead? Well, their comment was they take multiple batteries with them. Yeah, your GPS won't work underground. I mean, if it was just a one lane straight through cave, then yeah, you wouldn't need a map. You just follow it through and go to the other end. But like I say, many of these they've showed there's been tunnels that branched off the sides and stuff. And if you went the wrong way and didn't know what you were doing, you could get lost in those. Now, survival, they don't know what they're doing. They just hope if they get lost that we'll come look for them. Now, survival, I was just wondering that, but I wasn't going to ask because I was thinking you said you before you were married. Yeah, Survivor, we could stand outside the cave and keep yelling and see if they answer. Then if they hear us, they just tell them, follow my voice as it echoes through the cave. But I've seen different stories of, you know, people that do the cave trips and stuff like that, even in the U.S., where they've had problems and had to send in a rescue crew to find them. There's really, I think, only 2 caves I've ever been in like that. One of them's, I can't think now whether it's in southern Missouri or northern Arkansas. I wasn't too old when I was there with, family. And the other one's Carlsbad Caverns in New Mexico. But both of those are, they're all laid out with the footpath and the railings, and plus you're going through with a person that works for the park as such, that knows where they're going when they go through there. And they have lights and stuff already in it, so you don't have to worry about your batteries going dead. Yeah, because that's just one more of the places where you get to see stuff that you don't normally see if you don't go in them. And those type of caves, which are natural made, is usually created by running water, and it's just hard to believe that water would do that. But another example that's not a cave but still created by running water is the Grand Canyon, and that's quite a place to go see. I've been there before too. You wouldn't think that water could carve out rock that way. There's supposed to be a lunar eclipse here tonight. It's supposed to be from, I think, around 10:30 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern time. But with the rain and stuff we're getting, I doubt we're going to be able to see it. Monroe, do you mind if I ask how old she is? That's one thing with the Filipinas. It's, for the most part, it's very hard to tell how old they are. They all look so young. Okay. See, I've never been to Washington. I've been through a large percentage of the states in the mainland U.S., but I've never been right on the West Coast. So I haven't been in Washington, Oregon, California, or Nevada. I've been in all the rest of the states out that far. Oh, I haven't been in Utah either. Yeah, see, that's why I say Monroe, being the Filipina, she looks young. She doesn't look like she's 37. She's a pretty girl. She looks very young. You got a nice girl there. Well, I've just, never made it that far west yet. Um, the other states up through the mountains out there, I've been in those when I was still living at home, on family trips. When I was on the road transporting cars, I didn't run anywhere into the Rockies. I stayed, the Midwest and East Coast. It's just a whole lot easier to run the flatlands than try to run the mountains pulling, a load. And places like California are so expensive you can't afford to go there. Fuel prices are high, and all their vehicle rules and everything are so much more strict than they are the rest of the country. I used to have an aunt that lived in Oregon, and I had an uncle that was up in Alaska for a while. Prior to that, they were in Wyoming. They were both from Kansas. Yeah, 20 years is a long time to be together. Don't know if you could hear that or not. There's just a big clap of thunder. And just a few seconds before that, right along that window there, I saw the flash from the lightning. Yeah, and that's one of the things too, Amore, that is too bad because there's so many families over there that have split up, and have started new families and whatever, and they can't legally do anything because of your laws and whatnot. I mean, I definitely agree that with the talk that's been more recent there about changing the law and allowing divorce, but And with what you're asking there, more, I mean, doing that here isn't really much difference than what happens in the Philippines, where a couple splits up and he goes and finds somebody else and has a family there. Only difference is that here you can, finalize one and start the next one, where in the Philippines you can't. I mean, you have the relationship, but on paper you're still in the first one. And a more divorce here, a lot of it depends on the couple. If they are fighting over kids or fighting over property, the house, the money, the boat, the car, whatever, you can drag a divorce out here for years. If you have, an agreeable separation, it doesn't take a lot of time. Plus, that makes it a lot cheaper to do. When I got my divorce, um, my wife, ex, she went and got the paperwork. It does take 90 days their survival. Okay. She went and got the paperwork, filled it out, because she asked me different questions about what we were doing, as far as the house and whatever. So she filled it all out according to what we had talked about prior. She brought them to me one day. We went to a notary so I could sign them and have them notarized. I gave them back to her. She took them back to where she was living at, got a court date, took them in front of the judge, and the judge just asked her a few questions and he signed it. It was done. Ours was very quick. But with what, like Survival said, in Washington, mine was in Florida. Amicable is friendly, agreeable. You both agree to everything on it. You're not going to fight each other. Well, that works out good that way. Survival. In some cases, the judge turns around and says you divide everything equally. Well, then you got to sell the house where neither one of you get it, and then divide the money, and that makes it harder. Plus, takes longer. One that usually makes a divorce take the longest is when there's kids involved and both parents want to fight over who's going to get custody of the kid. If you can't agree on that, ahead of time, it can drag out for a long time in court then. We had been married 14 years when we got our divorce. Yeah, it makes it hard when you split up with somebody, especially if you've been with them very long. I think even if a couple, was in the other situation where, say, you were fighting and arguing all the time, once they leave, you still miss them. Well, Monroe, answer to your question there. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. And every couple, the situation is different. It's really not anything that you can say, well, this is what you need to do because no two couples are the same. I will be right back, guys. It is really raining hard. I need to go out and cover up where my kitties are underneath the ramp. Because if it rains too hard, then the water will start going down between the spacing and the boards. And I've got kitties down there that are about 3 weeks old. So I will be right back. read some of the comments and see what you guys said while I was gone. With what you said, there's survival about high school sweethearts, whatever. That can go either way. I mean, my older sister is married to a guy that she was going with in high school, and they've been married now for 50 some years. But I married somebody that I didn't know in high school, and I'm divorced. So it can go either way. I said 50 years, my sister be 40 years something. Yeah, well, survival, that's why I say, every couple situation is different. And you can't hardly sit down and say, well, you know, this should have been done, that should have been done, whatever, or somebody telling you that, because it don't work the same for everybody. And with my ex, we had been divorced over 17 years when I got word that she had passed away. Well, even then, that hurt me, that she was gone. But we've been divorced over 17 years. Well, being that we're getting a thunderstorm, it's obvious that we're not going to have our lunar eclipse tonight, or at least wise, we're not going to be able to see it here. We're getting a lot of thunder and lightning with this one. And not everybody on here talks about it, which, like Amor and I were saying earlier, a lot of times it's better not to bring out all your personal stuff. But if you think about who you talk to and stuff on YouTube, who you know here, and those of them that have, told about it, there's a large percentage of us that are divorced or in the Philippines split up because they can't get a divorce. It's surprising, how many people go through that. And I think it's kind of gotten to be more common in today's time than what it used to be, generations ago. One more of the many changes in the world. Hey, Ken. 60%? Okay, Ken. Ken, earlier there, Mike was asking Maureen if where they're taking that tree down, if that was where you was going to build the honeymoon suite. I told her she should leave the tree there and just build the loom around it. Yeah, you can't dwell on it. Survival, you kind of gotta just accept, what's happened and make the best of it and take care of yourself. The old saying, look out for number one. And it's one of them things, that most people can come up with a lot of ideas and suggestions and what ifs, but if they haven't been through it, they don't know what it's like. Wish I could figure a way to make the chat bigger here on YouTube. This past week or so, I've been having problems with my eyes blurring. I don't know whether they're dry or what, but it makes it hard to read the smaller print. I took on both Skype, and if I write an email in Yahoo, I've bumped it up print size so I can read what I'm doing. I probably need to see about going and getting a different set of glasses. I've had these for a long time, and they're not eye doctor prescription. They're the ones I picked up, at, I think our local grocery store here. But I think I need something a little bit stronger. Ken, what's Maureen doing today? Well, I use a magnifying glass a lot of times when I'm reading something, on paper. Especially like sometimes the fine print on food packages. You read all the big print of what's in it that you don't care about, but the directions and how to fix something, I usually have to get the magnifying glass out to read them. Well, knowing Maureen, she didn't buy much. She's pretty tight with her money. Yeah, well, it's like I just got a replacement Visa for my checking card or checking account. And I went online earlier today to put the new one in for PayPal. I had to sit there with a magnifying glass to read the numbers on the back of it so I could do it. But the more you said earlier there about, aches and pains and stuff, you think you're getting older. Well, another part of getting older is your eyes. And I always encourage people to take care of your eyes, because if you stop and think about it, what do you do that you don't use your eyes for except to sleep? I mean, if you lost your hearing or lost your speech, yeah, it would make things more difficult, but you could still do a lot of what you do. If you lose your sight, it's going to limit a lot of the things you normally do every day and take for granted. Sardines, cornbread, and coffee. You're going to be dumpster diving, huh? Hello, Keith Edward. Yeah, but when it comes to the food and stuff more, even if you're poor, if you watch how you spend your money and what you buy, you can still have good meals. Well, see, the only place I use mine is for on the computer or to read and stuff. I don't need them for anything else I do. I'm farsighted, so I can see everything far away. I sit and watch TV without them. I drive without them and do everything else. But if I'm doing stuff here, I need them to see stuff clearly. Well, Keith, that depends on what you refer to as fast food, something that's easy for you to fix at home, or fast food referring to McDonald's or whatever. The fast food McDonald's, half of that stuff isn't good for you. It's such a high grease and salt content. What I normally do with the stuff I fix is I fix a large meal or large quantity for the meal, eat what I want for that particular meal, and then the rest, is leftovers. And yes, then the microwave gets, used often. But it's just so much easier to make that one big thing of something to make, whether it's chili, goulash, or a stew or whatever you're making, and have leftovers for several other meals that, you stick them in the microwave for a minute and the meal's ready. Well, and part of that too, Keith, depends on how much exercise and stuff you get too. That's one of the things my doctor's been getting on me lately, because I pretty much eat anything and everything I want. But I've always been very active in the past, so it didn't affect me. My cholesterol was good and my weight was decent and whatever. And as of late, I haven't been doing as much, so then my cholesterol goes up and my weight's gone up a little bit. Well, with the weight going up, that also pushed my blood pressure up a little bit. And last time, or not the last time, a time before, when I went to see the doctor, one of the first things he said when he walked in the office, he says, "Oh, you been a bad boy lately?" Well, sometimes that's true. I've always gone, I eat what I want. Some things are not as good for you as others. I mean, anything that's got a lot of preservatives and whatever in it, like frozen dinners and whatever like that, has a lot of preservatives and salt and whatnot to make them last. So they're not as good for you. And one of the things that you can really learn from the Filipinas is eating the fruit and vegetables that most of us don't do. Well, the last I was doing before I retired was auto transport, interstate. I was hauling cars all over the country. And many people say, well, all you do there is you just sit in the truck and drive all day. Well, yes, you do. But I didn't eat in the truck stops all the time. I took food with me. So I ate a little bit better. I usually lost weight when I was on the road. I wasn't eating as big of meals as I eat at home. But my trips up and down and in under and whatnot of the car hauler, loading and chaining cars down and such like that, I was, pretty active in all that time period. But, since I retired and I don't have to do stuff all the time, I've gotten a little bit lazy. And if you spend very much time on YouTube, you can get real lazy then. I mean, because there's always something on YouTube to watch or somebody to talk to or something. Yeah. What you were doing sounded like another name for the repo man. Good money in that, but that's can be a dangerous job. Because not everybody's too friendly when you come to take their vehicle back. I did a lot of private transport, individuals, especially the snowbirds, most of what I was doing in the private sector. And then the other was, yeah. But see, working interstate, there's some places you have to be careful on that. You're not allowed to carry it from one state to another. So you have to be careful there. But a lot of my interstate stuff too, I was doing was also for dealers. I would, pick it up at a dealer and take it to another dealer, or pick it up at an auction, take it to a dealer. Or I've taken vehicles, say, from a dealer in Florida and take it up to New York to meet a private buyer that came out of Canada. They would meet me in New York, so I didn't have to take it across the border. Yeah, that's true, Amor. You guys, which I think a lot of it's been brought on because of financial situation there, you don't waste stuff like we do. I mean, this country is very wasteful. And you learn many more ways to fix the same item, and you use more of it than we do. That's where I was joking with you there a while back when you and Bikini and whoever were out doing one of your hikings there, and you was picking the ferns, and I kept teasing you were out picking weeds. That's stuff that you wouldn't hear of people here going out to get to eat. And some of the other stuff, I mean, and it's just the point of they've never had it and they think it sounds bad, so they say they would never try it. but like chicken feet, something here you I don't think you'll find an American that'll say, okay, yeah, they'll try that, but yet they'll eat pig's feet. Now, what's the difference? Yeah, but most most truckers anymore, even if it's running, they'd have it locked up just because of theft. I mean, I have picked up a couple of vehicles for one dealer I used to haul for every once in a while that I really wondered if they weren't repos, that he didn't tell me about them, but he claims they weren't. But it's just a situation of what I had to go through to get them. The person or the people I was picking it up from didn't make it easy for me to get. I mean, I'd have to load stuff up that was parked up next to the building, no keys, the wheels turned all the way to one side, so I couldn't start it, couldn't straighten the wheels and whatever. You know, I've got a big winch on my car hauler, so I just hook up to it and drag it up onto it that way. I've hauled others that I've had to crawl underneath and unhook the shift linkage so I could shift the transmission into neutral underneath the car because I couldn't do it inside the car because, again, no keys. But as long as I got paid, I didn't care. The best ones I liked was picking up either at auction or dealer and going to another dealer somewhere in another state because most generally then you could get your stuff all in one place and go to one place. You didn't have to go pick up one here, one there, and whatever. And the loading and unloading is the time consuming part, and the rest of it, just driving. Well, yeah, it takes time to drive, Florida to Kansas or New York or wherever you're going. But I like to travel and driving. I didn't mind. I enjoyed being out and getting to see, new stuff all the time, places I hadn't been before. And I even enjoyed going back to the same places again because a lot of times you see something that you missed the first trips around. And a lot of time I was on the road, I also had a companion riding with me. I had one of my kitties riding in the truck all the time. That was back when my previous group of cats that I had, and he was the last one of the bunch, and so I used to just take him in the truck with me all the time. He was kind of jumpy and jittery when we first started that venture, but after he rode a few times, he got where he didn't mind it. He'd crawl in the back somewhere and curl up and go to sleep. I used to have dogs more years ago, but as they got older and passed away, I just never got any more. And it's easier to have a small cat in the truck than a big dog. Hey again, Josh. And also with the cat, see, I just put the litter box in the truck on the floor, same as what I have with with Fluffy in here in the house. So I didn't have to get out and walk like you do with a dog. So you didn't have to worry about finding a place where you could walk a pet. Some places don't want you're having your animals out. You didn't have to worry about the weather being bad. You can getting them out in bad weather and then putting them back in the truck. And a cat takes up a whole lot less space. And if it got cold, he used to come up here and curl up and lay on my stomach and go to sleep at night. Yeah, as far as in a vehicle and stuff, yes. To me, anyways. I mean, a lot of people have dogs in their trucks with them, but to me, the cat was easier just because, like I said, it's smaller and you don't have to take it out, to walk it. I kept a whole bunch of plastic bags that you get stuff in at the store. Kept those in the truck. I had the little scooper and stuff like that, so I could clean the litter box whenever he used it. Just put it in that plastic bag. Then I could just throw it in the trash whenever I stopped. And if you're out, say, for a week, a cat eats a whole lot less food than a dog will in a week, so you don't have to carry as much food with you, food or water. But like I say, that's just my opinion. Somebody else may think differently. Even here in the house, having my cat Fluffy in here, she has a litter box that she uses, so I never have to take her outside. She never leaves the house. A lot of times when, like, I'm here online and stuff, or if I'm sitting here watching TV, even if I sit here and eat while I watch TV or something, I've got the recliner tip back where my feet's up and in front of me. She'll come out there and lay across my legs and go to sleep while I'm doing whatever I'm doing here. Right now, she's in the other room somewhere, I think hiding because of the thunderstorm we've been getting. The noise scares her. She's scared of thunder. She's scared of fireworks. Keith, what you were saying there about you're doing the recovery on 18 wheelers, then you had to have a second driver to get there and get back with. You see, I was doing mine alone. It's just that wherever I went to pick something up, I had to be able to get, 60 foot of truck and trailer in to get it loaded. I had a couple jobs there that I've turned down just because the information they gave me wasn't adequate to what it actually was. I mean, one place I went to pick up a car that was at a repair shop. Well, when I got there, the motor's laying on the ground beside it. Like they thought I was just going to pick the motor up and set it on my rig, too, and then load the car. I had another one that was going from some people in Florida going to New York. Never said anything about it being inoperable, whatever, figuring it was going to go get the car, drive it up onto my trailer and take it there and drive it off. Well, when I called and talked to him about it, the engine was in the trunk and the transmission was locked up so they couldn't move it. And they said, well, can't you just pick it up and put it on there? I haul wreck cars from insurance companies, or insurance auctions rather, to parts dealers, but they load them with forklift, but you don't care if you dig something up on them. But that's also going to some place where somebody runs a forklift every day doing that same job. And then, you just kind of have to watch it that they're still being, don't tear your equipment up. I didn't want to go to this place and they were going to go get a friend or rent a forklift or whatever to load it with. I didn't want them around my outfit, something like that. Well, I started this way later than I had intended because of what I was doing outside earlier, and then supper was late. But I went longer than I figured it would go. I've had a fairly good turnout tonight. I'm happy with that everybody was here. I think I'm going to go ahead and end this. And I will talk with you all on the next one or at yours, whichever. Well, that's true or more, yeah. I just don't want to get any more pets. I wish I didn't have the ones I got. I mean, I hate to give them up. That's why I've got so many. And I've said there now, like with these new ones I'm showing you that I've got, the babies, that as soon as they're big enough to leave to their mother, I want to get rid of all of them. There's a place here, one of the local towns that deal just in cats, and I want to see if I can take them to them, and then they try to find them a home. I don't want any more, and they tie me down. I'd like to be able to go back to the Philippines. I'd like to be able to go up north to visit my sisters, but I can't go because I have pets to take care of. And I don't like asking somebody else to take care of them. And on top of that, most people don't take care of stuff the way I do. So I'd be worrying about them the whole time I'm gone. When I had my other cat there, Shadow, the one that used to ride in the truck with me, when I had him put to sleep because he got really sick, I said back then that I wasn't going to get any more pets because they tie me down. And then First I took in Fluffy and made her a house cat. Then I've taken in, which most of you have never seen, Screamer. She disappeared a long time ago. And her sister, the little one, who has recently, this past month, disappeared. I don't know what happened to her. But, each of them had kittens who have had kittens who have had kittens. And you see where I'm at now. I'm presently at, I think, 25 cats here altogether, between the big ones and the little ones and the babies. If I don't start getting rid of the little ones when they come, I'm going to have a humongous number. And the more I get, the more it's costing me to feed them. And the stress of all the time worrying about them, because of they go out of the yard and some of the neighbors have dogs. I lost one cat there. His name was Jack. He was a brother to Jill that you've seen in some of my videos. The neighbor next door, 2 of her dogs got it and killed it. One of my other male cats, Big Orange, somehow he got in the neighbor's yard here recently. Got into it with 2 of the cats over there. He's still alive, but he's still got some injuries that are healing. He got hurt pretty bad. I never took him to the vet. I was going to, but he seemed to be recuperating okay, so I didn't do it to save the money, because I always wondered if he had internal injuries. And then I just get too attached to him, and I don't want to give him up, so that's why I want to do that with these little ones before I get attached to them. But anyways, with that, good night, everybody. Good day where you are, whatever. And I'll talk with you all the next time.